it seems so straightforward to me to like tell someone the price so that they know and they can come into the sales interaction with knowledge. Like, right? You need to get rid of their concerns, their fears about the process and the price. Marketing is sales at scale, right? Selling, transactional. Branding is building know, like, and trust, right? You want them to know, like, and trust you, because if they don't know you, like you, and trust you, they're not going to buy from you, right? Yeah. They're not going to want to do a transaction with somebody that they don't know. Sales process and skills in place to actually get the deal across the finish line and to make that genuine connection with somebody once they're on the phone or they're in person, then it's never going to happen. It doesn't matter how many leads we send someone or how many appointments we get there in person if they don't have the process and the skills to actually get the deal done. So.
All right, welcome to the Zone of Enrichment, the room of constant, never-ending improvement. This is Kaizen, and this is the Manufacture to Win podcast on the road, right? We're in Vegas.
Yeah.
What's up, Duncan? How are you, brother?
What's up? Doing good. Loving Vegas.
Yeah,
first time
man.
here. So.
Congress and Expo. Wait, your first time in Vegas? Or
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, never been before. It's overwhelming.
Wow.
To say the least, yeah.
Well,
we went to Fremont Street, and there's like lights, and there's like people doing cartwheels and backflips off tables. I'm like, I gotta get out of here. But it's cool. It's good to experience it, I think. So
interesting, man.
Yeah.
Okay. That could be a whole show in itself.
Yeah.
Like, how has Duncan never been to Vegas before?
Yeah.
Well, fantastic, man. As you guys can tell, we're still out here at MHI Congress and Expo in Las Vegas. How's the show been for you guys?
Amazing. One of the things I love about these shows really is getting to know all the vendors and exhibitors, seeing what's coming out, new technology, new businesses in the space. It makes me excited for the future of our business as well, obviously.
Right.
Like, we're in this industry, and just seeing all of the new AI companies that are coming out, all it's going to do for us is it's going to raise the awareness of AI in the industry, and it's going to make it better for us. So it's so great meeting everybody else that's here.
I can't agree more. One of the things that I have always talked about, I mentioned it, I had John with Trove on earlier, right? And they were talking about their thing, and I told him what I tell everybody. Our industry has been behind the times. 10, 20 years. Compared to any other industry, right? And some of it's your fault out there because you're so stubborn that you don't want to change things. But inevitably, I don't see you guys using rotary phones. Everybody's got a cell phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all have to go and move forward.
Yeah.
And so, I love the fact you mentioned there are a ton of different vendors out here, different service providers that you would not have seen in the industry even last year. They weren't here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're becoming aware of this industry as well.
Yeah, it's been an interesting ride for us because we came in early in that, I think, that awareness to the tech side of things, and like we're riding that wave of everybody kind of knowing that they need to update things, but they're not quite sure how to do it or what to implement. So it's just been a fun ride so far, and I'm enjoying seeing Trove grow and you guys grow, and it's just so fun to watch it happen.
And the thing, I was on a phone call with a client of ours a couple days ago, right? We were having a conversation.
Yeah.
And they were like, we really wish you wouldn't train other companies.
Yeah.
I said, look, I get it, but here's the issue. The issue, when somebody tells me something like that, obviously what I hear and what I see is you just don't, you don't see the potential.
Yeah.
Your vision's not big enough because, man, no one company can handle everything. The need is so huge in the housing industry. We all know so many families are priced out. 20 million families can't buy a site-built home.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So now we have the opportunity to bring them in. So, man, we need 3 times as many, 10 times as many companies doing things.
Yeah,
right?
We need to level up the industry, right? Like, that's one of the things that you talk about so often that I resonate with. It's like we all need to level up our sales skills, what we're using in terms of tech, marketing. Like, everything needs to step up in order to bridge the gap in the affordable housing crisis, right? Like, the wave of new new purchases is coming once they loosen the regulations on zoning and make it easier for people to buy manufactured housing. And we all have to get better in order to keep up with that.
Sure.
We all have to level up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What would you say, Duncan, to the people out there, right? Because mainly we've got sales consultants, we got owners, we got people that are involved in the sales side of things, right? And man, for those of us that have been doing it a while, you know, we're used to a certain way of thinking and operating. As much control as possible.
Yeah.
No, don't tell them pricing. No, don't do this and that. All this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
But we're really the only industry that does that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
It's interesting coming in from the outside, right? Because I've never worked at a dealership. I've never owned a community, never done sales in this industry before. And it seems so straightforward to me to like tell someone the price so that they know and they can come into the sales interaction with knowledge. Like, right? You need to get rid of their concerns, their fears about the process and the price. And it just seems backwards to me that we don't talk about that in our marketing and forward-facing, marketing materials, website, ads. And that's exactly what we do. Like, whenever we onboard anybody, I'm like, you got to get comfortable with talking about this stuff because it's what works. And I show them. I'm like, here's an ad that doesn't talk about pricing versus one that does. And it's like all the questions that are coming in from the ad that talks about pricing are like, awesome, what's the next step? Because they have the price and they're like, I know I can afford it. Now, how do I move forward? Yeah. And the ones without pricing, it's like, so how does this work? And you can feel they're more resistant in the conversations that they're having with the team. So it's clear to me, it's clear as day. And you see it in the auto industry, like any other, medium to high ticket sales, the price is in front always.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and so that goes to buying experience, right? And that's one thing that we talk about a lot from the sales standpoint. What are we doing as sales consultants? What are you doing? How are you treating that buyer? What information are you giving them? And the more and more I travel, the more we do this, and as our team continues to grow, I start to realize, like, dude, that stuff of giving all the information up front works in every other industry.
Yep.
And they're making more money than what we are.
Yeah.
So why would we feel that it doesn't work here? And I think it's just, again, it goes back to small-minded, small vision, because we've always been that 9 to 10%.
Yep.
But you hear me, you and I have had these conversations before, right? The only way we're going to increase that beyond the 10% is by bringing in a different customer.
Yeah.
That 9 to 10% is the manufactured home buyer.
Yep.
That's right. It's always been that for decades.
Yep.
Right? So how do you increase? You're not obviously going to make more manufactured home buyers, more rural buyers. They're already out there.
Yep. They already know the product.
They already know the product.
Yep.
You got to bring in a different market.
Yep.
You got to bring in that buyer who can't buy a site-built home and has scratched their head hearing, well, should I look at those trailers?
Yeah. Don't say the T word. Yeah. Yeah, it's a perception issue. We all know that, right? And like one of the other ads that we run that's not lead gen focused, it's more brand focused, perception focused, is designed to do that, right? It's like, how do we pull people that have been priced out of that site-built home market from, essentially from trying to get into that market down a little bit into our price point without losing any quality. They feel like the perception is they're going to lose quality when we all know, like, we've walked through these homes and we see how well they're built and like we see the quality of construction and we know what they are now and it's different than what they used to be. So that ad, it just talks about what mobile homes, manufactured homes used to be versus what they are today and how they got there, right? Yeah. Explaining that to the consumer. And we show that to people who are not necessarily already interested in mobile homes, right? They don't know about them. They don't know that they exist, or even if they do, they don't think of them as an option because they have that perception issue. They have that mental block. So we have to educate them on that, right? It's like, here's why they're viable. Here's why they probably weren't back in the day, right? But it's a different product now.
So you brought up that point of educating them of what the homes are, right? Getting that out there. How can a company do it better, maybe, right? Start. And also the second part of that question would be, how do you think the individual sales consultant or community manager should be doing it?
Yeah, great question. I would say it's pretty much the same answer for both.
Okay.
So one of my favorite ways to connect with people is by telling stories. Everybody loves a good story. And let me back up a couple steps. One of the things that a lot of community managers, dealers, dealership owners are good at is lead gen, promotion. Here's a sale, here's an offer. You know, they're always like, check out this house, come on in, 0 down available for qualified buyers, like all that stuff. They're pretty good at making those kinds of ads, but the next layer of the onion is this storytelling, kind of trust building content that you need to shift perception in an industry, right? So what they would need to do is change their mindset and how they think about ads from just lead generation to making a connection with people on a personal level by telling stories. And I'll be more specific. I know that's kind of like meta. Let's say, for example, you're trying to get someone to understand the value of a mobile home, of a manufactured home, when they otherwise thought of them as trailers, right? One of the easiest ways is to tell a story about when you walked into a manufactured home for the first time and had that aha moment, right? We've all been there. You walked in and you're like, this thing has crown molding and a fireplace and like a clawfoot tub. Like, this is insane, right? We've all experienced that as people in this industry. And telling that story about, I was like you, person watching this video or reading this ad, I thought they were cheap. I thought they were poor construction. I thought this, that, the other. And then I walked into this house and it blew my mind. And I really understood at that point what this meant, what manufactured housing could mean to the U.S. and fixing the affordable housing crisis and providing, you know, a solution to people that really need it, right? You said 20 million families, like they just can't afford a site-built home, but we have something that they can't afford that is a good product, right? So tell the story of, that's just one example, tell the story of when you first realized that they were a viable option. And that's not like a lead gen ad, right? You're not looking for somebody to click on that ad and give you their name, email, phone number. You want somebody to read that and have the same aha moment that you had when you walked into the house. And then they'll see your lead gen stuff, and then they'll give you their name, email, phone number. But it starts with that realization, right? It starts with the aha moment. And there's plenty of stories like that. You know, that's just one example.
I always love talking to folks about Gary Vaynerchuk. Right? Jab, 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 right hook. And he talks about give, and then you ask. Right? So it's the same concept. That's what we talk about, and whether it's the lives that we do that you've been a part of, or just training that we do, whether it's a PHC course that we do now or anything else, is you have to build a brand. It's no longer, marketing and branding are two different things, in my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Marketing is, I have this house. Right? It costs X, or we've got a special going on. Branding are these stories. Branding is, who are you, the individual sales consultant? Why are you trying to help people? How have you helped people? There's several people that stick out to me, sales consultants right now, that do that on a big scale. Right? And we talk about them all the time. One of them is a young man. His name's Colton Griffiths. We'll put a little screenshot of his profile. You guys can go check it out. Wonderful storytelling. He brings his customers on that have closed, and he talks to them. And what was the experience like? Why did you decide to buy here? Kind of thing.
That's
what
incredible.
was it like dealing with me? What could have gone better? And he's documenting it for people to see. Right. And then you've got a recently promoted general manager who was Palm Harbor stud. Like, this dude funding 80 plus homes a year by himself. With no walk-ins. And no company leads. This was all straight through his Facebook and his YouTube.
Jeez.
That's it.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's right. Dustin Mason. That's another guy, right? Same thing. Great storyteller. He tells them about, hey, this is how the financing works, right? A lot of people think this, but it's really that, right? So that, I think, is great branding, and more of that. And then every once in a while they mix in a house, right? Every once in a while they'll mix in a house that drives the leads. And then another is a young lady. Her name is Jesslyn Coming. I don't know if you've seen her, man. She's on TikTok. I'm going to send you the links to these folks so you can study them and maybe use them in your stuff that
That'd
you
be great.
put out. But she's giving first person perspective on. She just started in the industry. Probably 8 months ago or so, but from day one she's been documenting it.
Yeah,
And putting it out there, and
telling
and
your story.
And now she's got all these customers that she's sold and closed, and now she's telling their stories.
Yeah.
I had a buyer that thought this, but I was able to help them understand that.
Yep.
So those are the kind of things you're talking about.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Right?
Marketing is sales at scale, right? Selling, transactional. Branding is building know, like, and trust, right? You want them to know, like, and trust you, because if they don't know you, like you, and trust you, they're not going to buy from you, right? They're not going to want to do a transaction with somebody that they don't know or like or trust, right? And that's all brand building is. Yeah.
And that it just popped in my head right now, which is why do we make a big deal out of Super Bowl commercials? Because I, as a consumer, there's been some that have just blown my mind. Like, damn, that was good, right?
Yeah.
But we're looking at it for the story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We know they're pitching us something, but we're not. It's not even a pitch. They're all trying to outdo themselves in the story they're giving, or the entertainment they're providing in it, or whatnot.
The narrative content of the ads.
But at the end of the day, you know that it's Coke commercial.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I want to buy Coke.
Yeah, but you want to watch it, right? We're all excited for them. Yeah.
And so I think that's what we're missing in this industry.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Is that building it and maybe making it sexy?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not in a bad way, right? Like just making it
better.
Yes.
Yeah. I think my friend Allie, who's like an organic social media expert, she says this thing all the time that I think is very applicable here, and it's like, make social media social again. We so much we tend to lean into that marketing kind of sales direct response thing, like, here's a lead magnet, or if you're interested in this house, submit your info. And it's like, great, nobody goes to social media to be sold to, right? They go there to interact with their friends and their family and see pictures and hear about what's going on in somebody else's life. And the line that we're trying to walk when we're doing good branding content is, how do we do that? How do we do good content, social media content, and also make it about our business, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And like, people have a hard time sometimes with the nuance there. Like, you don't have to always ask for something from them.
Right.
Just like, be there, be social, be entertaining, be interesting, be sexy, in the right way. And right. It might sell some homes, whatever works. But yeah, that's what you want to do there. And I look at it like layers, right? You need to build the trust, so that's like your top layer. You got to get all the eyeballs and the trust and the connections, and then that layer below it is where you ask, and they actually convert in some meaningful way in a lead or a message or a application or whatever. So.
I feel we're on that cusp.
Yeah.
Okay. I walk the floors here, right? Yes, you see the guys that have been in the business for 30, 40 years, but you see a lot more younger people.
Yeah.
A lot more younger people, which is great.
Yep.
I love it, because those people are the ones that are used to that kind of thing, right? And so they're bringing that into the industry, and us curmudgeons out here that have been doing it for a long time, we're like, why are you doing that? Right? All this, I don't, right? But I hear it. Because I think this, right? I can tell you the psychology behind the retailer that is adverse to it. It takes too much time to do it, and they're all about right now. This, and don't get me like I strongly believe if somebody leaves, they're not coming back.
Yeah.
But I got to take my time and do the right way, give them the right buying experience so that they want to make that decision, because they already they showed up to make a decision.
Yeah.
So why would I not expect a decision to be made? But I think if we started all as an industry moving in that direction with the branding, changing the way we operated, we're going to get a lot more. They're worried about that 9 to 10% slowing down, because now you're giving them too many options. Oh my gosh, you're giving them the price. Oh, this and that. But now you're going to have all these 20 million that are going to see it, and they're going to be like, hey, wait, what about that?
That's attainable.
And now you're going to bring that in here, and it's going to make up. So you're going to have so much more volume in more business, more potential buyers. that you'll still keep that pace.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. I speaking to the mentality thing of some of the people in the industry now, I've seen where because it's been so focused on the marketing and the sales, which obviously you need that mentality of when they come in, they're not coming back. But what it does is it can cause dealers to focus on and communities to focus on the wrong numbers, on the wrong key performance indicators, for lack of a better term.
Yep.
And they'll come to us and say like, okay, well, why is my cost per lead this? And I'm like, okay, great, I understand, but you also need to look at this over here, this metric of here's how many people actually came to your page and looked at this post that we wrote, this story about when you walked into a home, and all the views that you got on this are going to lead to better quality leads, whether they're more expensive, less expensive, doesn't matter because they're pre-sold, right? Like that's the beauty of good branding. They're pre-sold on the idea of buying a manufactured home and buying it from you. So yeah, shifting that mentality, I think it's going to take people like you talking about it and actually leading by example, which you are. Like you guys crush it on the content side and on everything, obviously. And it's going to take those younger people to come in and really that we're social media natives, right? To apply all that stuff that they grew up with to business. So I agree. I think that switch is coming. But for the people that want to adapt, that's kind of what I see with a lot of our clients.
Right.
So.
Oh, and by the way, call the damn leads.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
So we know, man, that there's got to be a shift. There's a shift happening.
Yeah.
It's happening now. It's a lot slower than we would hope, but it's happening at least.
Yeah.
You see it by what we see here when we travel and go to these events now. I still believe the industry needs a lot more when we have these types of events to focus in on these things and start talking about this more. We need to have this. That's why we as we're going from a sales training company, right, which is where I started, that was our mentality, to where now we're building a platform.
Yeah.
We're building a platform where people like you and everyone else and the sales consultants, everybody, we can all come together and discuss these things.
Yeah.
To level up the industry.
Love it.
Right? And so that's why we love having partners like yourselves and the mobile home guys. I'd ask you to work on that name, by the way. But anyway.
I knew it was coming. I felt it.
But what you guys do is amazing, man. It's amazing, and it, unfortunately, it kind of makes some people lazy. Mm-hmm. They think that thing is going to take it all the way through and sell it for them.
Yeah.
Like, I just have to be there to sign the papers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's why I kind of mentioned call the leads.
Yes, please.
Because it doesn't make a difference how many leads you get. You said it just a little bit ago. Everybody focuses on marketing and all this. I had somebody, a potential client of ours. We talked. Everything went well. Sent the proposal. Yeah, we're going to get started. And then they kind of started slowing off, right?
Yeah.
And tapering off like a buyer does.
Yep.
And so I reach out and I'm really talking, and they said, well, we decided to focus on lead gen. And I'm like, sir, with all due respect, you yourself told me that your community managers can't really handle buyers. So what makes you think that getting them more leads is going to be the solution to the problem?
Not going to fix it. Yeah.
So we got to fix the right things, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So with regards to what you guys, the service you offer, what's the key missing component for it to be fully effective?
Yeah, so I'll take a few steps back because I want to say something about your journey from sales consulting company to platform that kind of mirrors our journey and progression. We started as a lead gen company, right? And a part of that was like seeing that that's what the industry cared about and needing to speak to them in a way that they understood to get our foothold. But now we are also making that shift to more of the branding, trust building content that you really need to shift the industry. So I'm excited that we're, kind of on this journey together. Number one. And I think that that's going to help. I think that branding, trust-building content is going to help in a lot of ways mitigate some of the issues that we've seen. But the other component that we need, we can do as much branding, as much marketing, as many cool ads and text campaigns as we want. But if the team doesn't have the sales process and skills in place to actually get the deal across the finish line and to make that genuine connection with somebody once they're on the phone or they're in person, then it's never going to happen. Doesn't matter how many leads we send someone or how many appointments we get there in person if they don't have the process and the skills to actually get the deal done. So if I were to boil it down to like one big thing right now, like you said, it's like, please call the leads. We have maybe 50% of our clients, we generate leads obviously for them, and they just don't call anyone. You know, they'll pick up the phone when inbound calls happen. They'll text people back and forth, but they don't have the tenacity or maybe it's just the process. Maybe they're not being trained or told to sit down and call the leads. We tell them to. We're like, look, you got to call as soon as this thing comes in. So much so that we hired someone on our team to do that for our clients. Yeah. Obviously, we got to charge more for it, but we see the problem actively every day of the leads not being called. So much so that we like built it into our thing. Like, okay, if you're not going to call them, we will call them for you. But it's always better to call them as the representative sales rep that is responsible for that lead, right? Because you're building the relationship and the trust. So if I were to point to one thing, it's like AI is great, automations are great, marketing, branding is great, but it doesn't replace like that. Phone call. Yeah, the phone call.
The human interaction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I talk about this a lot where I think we're all kind of, even as new as it is, we're all kind of have a fatigue of sorts to AI.
Yeah.
In the sense that we don't know what's real and what's not.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so it requires this, you're not eliminating the step of the call.
Yeah.
And too many of you, I know you guys use Dunkin' and they do a great job, but you're expecting it. I need it to just schedule appointments for me. Well, guess what? Not everybody's going to book an appointment.
Yep.
You're going to have to call some of them to actually get the appointment, but at least they're generating the lead, right? And you should want to call them because people want that human touch.
Yep.
And so I agree with you 1,000% there, you know, and so what you guys are doing is fantastic, man. I know it's going to keep growing. It's going to keep getting better.
Yeah.
I love the fact now you can, Dunkin's coming out to MH Sales Mastery Live.
Yeah.
He's sharing stuff for free that you can build yourself.
Yep.
Like, well, I don't have the money to pay Dunkin' and his crew, but I know what they're doing is great. Well, guess what? He's coming in, he's telling you how to do it yourself.
Yep.
You know, because we all just want you to get better.
Yeah, we want you to succeed.
the better you get, the more you improve, the better we all win.
Rising tide lifts all boats.
That's right. It's actually going to generate more business for all of us.
Yes.
Because you're not going to be able to do it all on your own at some point, and you're going to need the outside help. Whether it's going to be, you know, lead gen and AI, or whether it's going to be, hey, my teams are doing great, but I know we're missing some things, and we'll come in and help out. That is the whole idea of a platform.
Yeah.
That is the idea of leveling up the industry. And I think you guys do a great job, Dunkin. Appreciate you being here, man.
Thank you.
How can the folks reach you guys? Where can they find you guys?
Yeah, mobilehomeguys.ai. I'll work on the name. I'll consider it. But for now,
hey, MH guys.
yeah. I'll leave you with this. We knew when we chose that name that it would be divisive, and it's a hill that I'm willing to die on right now because the consumer still calls them mobile homes.
Yes.
Right? I know that that's not what we want them to call it, and I'm down to shift the industry. We talk in our ads about they used to be trailers, then they were mobile homes, now it's manufactured housing, and here's the difference. So we're doing what we can to change that perception shift, but if you just go in and say manufactured housing to somebody, they're still not aware most of the time what that is.
You're right.
So
I agree.
that's why the name is the name.
Yeah.
But I also know that we're trying to level up. I get it.
So mobilehomeguys.ai. That's where
correct.
everybody can find you guys. Get some information. And come and see Dunkin', man, and the crew with us at MH Sales Mastery Live, okay?
Chicago's next, right?
Chicago, baby. That's
I'll be there.
what we'll be after here in a month from now.
Nice.
So,
that's a month away?
Yeah,
oh, my gosh.
Away, yeah.
I got to get plane tickets.
Fun times. All right. Hope to see you guys there. Again, Dunkin', thanks very much, man.
Thanks, man.
Always fun to have you on. You guys get a hold of them. Let's go level up the industry together, all right? From Vegas, we're out.